and welcome to the Kongversation Mini. I'm Chad McCanna.
And I'm Hyle Russell.
So, the aftermath of the suicide bomb, after we have heard the heralding of the apocalypse, which I guess the cigarette-smoking man is in cahoots with God? I guess. Also directed and written by Chris Carter, we come to My Struggle 2.
Mein Kampf 2. Well, written by Chris Carter and some doctors.
Oh, written by Chris Carter, the story by Chris Carter and two doctors.
Which,
very strange.
Very strange until you realize that there's a bunch of medical jargon in this episode that Chris Carter couldn't be bothered to research, so he just handed his script over to doctors to say, write this for me.
You know, just something about DNA. Like
I'll get you a double WGA card. You're gonna get some royalties. It's gonna be sweet.
There's a sequence where you can tell the part that they contributed to, because there's a scene where Scully is trying to describe these gene splicing mechanisms in our DNA, and Agent Einstein is right there with her. She's like, "Oh wait, you mean blah blah blah."
So why couldn't
exactly right?
Why couldn't Chris Carter just Google this? Apparently, that's enough.
He forgot Scully's own research techniques.
I like how stem cells played a vital role in this episode too.
Right?
Oh, stem cells, yes.
So, let's start off at the cold open that I was just guffawing at.
So this was just a mirror of the premiere's cold open, where it's basically somebody putting down a bunch of pictures from the life of Mulder and Scully. This time from Scully's perspective.
Right.
My name is Dana Scully. I gave up a promising career in medicine.
Yeah, to work at the FBI, my one project to debunk the work of a dedicated man, Fox Mulder, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
The same monologue she's given so many times.
Yeah.
But it also had the same hacky device that the cold open of My Struggle 1 had, laying down screenshots from the series in a diegetic fashion, despite the fact that these screenshots would never, ever exist.
Well, but we know Terry O'Quinn's Shadow Man took them.
Oh, right. I forgot.
That was another classic season 9 episode.
Okay, so Scully finishes her monologue by revealing the thing that she basically revealed in episode 1001.
She has alien DNA.
She has alien DNA.
By the way, not to steal from Mr. Jeremy Thorne, but take a shot every time they say alien DNA in this episode, because you will die from alcohol poisoning.
Yeah. You'll be in a worse off state than most episodes have put it in your mouth. You fucking bitch. Oh, I miss Jeremy. I haven't heard from him in a while.
I know. Where's Sam?
Where is Sam? That's a good question. Maybe that should be the next pursuit of the X-Files. Finding Sam.
He's with William.
Up in that triangle UFO from the end.
Save it for the end.
Okay. So Scully, when she reveals that she has alien DNA, morphs from Dana Scully into an alien. Her clothes disappear, and she's just standing there, a gray alien.
Like, if Scully had woken up from a nightmare at this point, that would have been acceptable. But no, it's just this artsy-fartsy bullshit, like...
Yeah. Okay. So I know that there's a screenwriting edict that you show, you don't tell.
Yes.
It's a rule that avoids a lot of hacky exposition, of which Chris Carter.
To be fair, we won an Emmy off hacky exposition, so don't.
But it was clever postmodern hacky exposition.
Okay, yes.
It was the postmodern Prometheus of hacky exposition. Also a Chris Carter episode.
Also another episode that had unfortunate rape undertones.
That's true, it did. Oh my god. The hero was a rapist. He got to listen to Cher after raping an entire town.
Which is also how the Cosby Show should have ended.
Camilla, you know I love Sonny and Cher.
If he could turn back time.
So, at any rate, yes, you want to show and not tell. However, he saddled himself with this abstract concept of alien DNA and wrote himself into this corner where no one gives a shit about people just telling each other that they have alien DNA. It's an abstract concept without an animated DNA strand a la Jurassic Park coming out.
Right. Like this is something that you could see being incorporated into the show back when they were mapping the human genome during the original show's run. Like it was like in the news. Mm-hmm. Nobody gives a shit about what's in your DNA right now.
Yeah.
Like it's not like
Right.
I don't know.
Have
It's not.
Have
It's
you
not.
sequenced your genome, Agent Einstein? No, I never have, Agent Scully. Well, let's do it right now. You see that marker? That's alien DNA.
Yeah, that's one. I'm not a medical doctor like Agent Scully, but
Or like the co-writers of this episode.
but I don't know how long it takes to sequence your DNA and
Your entire genome.
and then make a vaccine based off of it to cure the world. I'm assuming it
a
takes
matter
more,
of hours, Hyle. It's in a matter of
takes
hours.
a matter of hours. Okay.
Yeah. How many hours? 2?
yeah.
5? Just a matter.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So I don't even. I just got done watching this episode before we recorded.
All right, so
it's-
basically-
I haven't got to digest the mess.
Scully shows up to the X-Files office. Mulder is nowhere to be found. That's weird. Mulder didn't show up for work today. Okay, whatever.
Right.
Oh, look, he left a tab open on his computer. Is it porn? It is Agent Mulder. No, it's the Tad O'Malley show. Tad O'Malley's back. Where was he? We're not
Mulder
really going to
needs to learn how to lock his workstation.
So Tad O'Malley, the Glenn Beck / Alex Jones analog in the first episode of the season, is back after the government pulled his show from the internet.
From Mind Quad.
Yeah. He's back. We don't know where. We don't learn where he does. Tad O'Malley never appears in the flesh in this episode. We don't get a lot of O'Malley. We just get a tad O'Malley. But
You've been sitting on that one this whole episode.
I have. He just appears on his internet show. Basically, he's the kind of the Greek chorus of this episode. He basically summarizes what's happening in the outer world as it falls to pieces.
Yeah.
Which didn't really work.
Yeah, because he's not really reporting anything from the outer world. He's just making crazy conspiracy theories.
That happened to be right, because apparently freeform crazy conspiracy theories are always 100% accurate.
I love that chemtrails came in.
Oh my god, it was just my nipples got erect at the mention of chemtrails.
God. It was we talked about the Coast to Coast AM show last mini. It was like that come to life.
The thing about the Coast to Coast AM was more plausible than anything. Like, at least Mel's Hole is batshit ridiculous, but at least they walked you along the journey of Mel's Hole. Like, by the point they're talking about seal creatures popping out of dog carcasses, you're fully committed to the story. It doesn't just start with seal creatures popping out of dog carcasses. It's like the Ghostbusters philosophy. You can't start with the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. You got to start in grounding the audience in reality, and then slowly escalate the insanity until they're fighting a marshmallow sailor storming down, Manhattan.
Right. It's like Bill Murray is a slime bag and a creep and a pretty hacky psychologist, but he's a corporeal one.
Right. So anyway, but by the way, I bring up Millennium a lot when discussing Chris Carter and the X-Files, but if you really want an example of how this episode should have been done, watch the season 2 Millennium finale, because that basically dealt with the exact same theme. A killer virus is basically destroying the world, but it does it so much more effectively, and there's a sense of dread and there's a sense of scale that on a TV budget, they're not really able to show the whole world basically falling to pieces.
Yeah.
But they do it. It's so artfully done, and by the end of it, you're just gobsmacked. This was garbage.
The thing that pissed me off about this, people have mixed reactions to the first X-Files movie. I think it is the pinnacle of what the X-Files was and could be. I think it's pitch perfect. It has its flaws, but for an X-Files story, it's perfection. It's the combination of the Monster of the Weeks and the alien mythology,
Right.
and it wraps it up in a neat little bow. And it posits, I keep saying posits a lot in this episode, I'm sorry. It theorizes.
It's your alien DNA.
I know, right? It's latent, but it's coming alive. Martin Landau, the aforementioned, is this crazy conspiracy theorist, a la Tad O'Malley, and he talks about this end times where the government will basically make everyone sick via the mythology that had been built up to that point, which was there is a virus that's being spread initially through smallpox vaccinations, but then through corn and via the bees that have pollinated that corn to get into basically the diet of the entire world. And there will be a time at which it's activated and everything goes crazy, but it also worked in the sense that aliens are the original inhabitants of Earth. Like, they're really not aliens in the way that we think of them. They were here before us.
Ancient aliens, buddy.
Ancient aliens. And in the mid-90s, before that was a trope and a show on the History Channel, that was an interesting concept. And the whole end times that was discussed in the first movie was so much more interesting, but flirting with the same themes in a different context than this one. This was like a second draft of the X-Files movie that was just shitted out by an incompetent hack.
Right. And
which it kind of was.
Well, we basically, like, after the first syndicate burned and basically they had to rebuild the conspiracy with super soldiers, we got a different end time scenario. You know, both slated to happen in 2012. The Mayan apocalypse.
Timetable has changed, Agent Mulder.
But you know, okay. Well, anyway, let's just talk about the plot. Let's power through this real quick.
Mm-hmm. Such that there is.
Ted O'Malley's back, and he's reporting on whatever. I don't really care. Scully goes to Mulder's house to say, hey, Ted O'Malley's back. Shit's going down. Well, it looks like there's been a tussle at the Mulder residence. There's
at old Mulder Manor.
There's papers everywhere, because that's what happens when you're in a tussle.
There's a ruckus down there at the old Mulder place. Seems like some government people came in a black helicopter.
So yeah, Mulder's missing. It looks like there's been a fight. He's driving south, all bloody. We don't know what's going on with him. Mm-hmm. And then
so Scully goes. No, she doesn't go to Mulder's house. She just shows up to work, and then Skinner and Agent Einstein are there for some reason. Again, Agent Einstein has no reason to be in this scene at all. Skinner doesn't even mention why she's there.
Yeah,
she's just there to reboot the series with Agent Einstein and Miller. And yeah, we can't get a hold of Mulder. We don't know where Mulder is. And then they uncover that his house has been ransacked. And I brought that up to just underline how unnecessarily injected Agents Einstein and Miller are into this episode, much less the previous one.
And they're terrible characters in that they're just basically Mulder and Scully clones without any in-universe logic or reason behind it. Like, does Agent Einstein need to be a redhead? Like, what? Like, why?
Oh, she even calls him Miller.
All the agents refer to each other as their last names in the X-Files.
Yeah. Also, why was Scully so astounded that her name was Einstein?
I didn't understand that joke, or that why that was clever.
She wrote her thesis on Einstein's twin paradox or whatever. You know, so yeah, she has a familiarity with Einstein, but we all do, because he's the most famous scientist ever.
This is a joke I thought of last night, so I'm just going to be upfront about that. But do you think if Miller and Einstein take over the series, then we're going to get a season finale called Mindstein?
I hope it's just someone drinking heavily.
That will be the audience.
Yeah. I will be there with Mindstein.
So anyway, I'm just going to cut to the chase because there's a lot of chaff in this episode. So basically, the cigarette smoking man, who we know is alive and well, with skin grafts and metal plates attached to his head, he sent for Mulder. He sent a shady associate to Mulder, and Mulder got in a fight with him and basically found out the cigarette smoking man sent him and where he's located, which is in South Carolina for some reason. Mm-hmm. So Mulder heads south
in Spartanville or Spartantown, which is appropriate considering the virus is called the Spartan virus.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway,
so he Googled the names of cities to find one that was tonally appropriate for his end game. I don't get. Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, Mulder heads south, and he's all beat up, and he's also getting sick, I guess. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, a bunch of people are getting sick around the country. First, it's soldiers, and they have these weird lesions appearing on their arms. And apparently it looks like anthrax something was in... Well, I didn't understand this.
No, it wasn't that. It was basically Scully was saying, because there's this whole thing about it being involved, it being passed along through the smallpox vaccination. The problem with that is the U.S. government stopped vaccinating people for smallpox in 1972. I've never had a smallpox scar. You never have. Agent Einstein, Lauren Ambrose, is our age or younger. She's never had a smallpox vaccination. So what they said is that soldiers would have gotten this by the anthrax vaccinations that they're given before they go into combat overseas.
Yeah.
That's where the anthrax thing came in.
No. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chris Carter, because I know you're listening.
Stop. Please just stop.
Yeah, there is
that was to Chris Carter.
There was something hidden in the smallpox vaccine, which already played a part in the original X-Files run.
Yeah, Anasazi was all about that.
Yeah,
it was a fantastic arc.
But there's apparently something else in the smallpox vaccine that would be passed on genetically to the people, the children of the people who received the smallpox vaccine. So you don't.
I guess there's something else there too.
You don't have to have the smallpox vaccine because if your parents had one or their parents, then you're going to genetically have the thing carried over to you. And what the thing is there's, I guess, the cigarette smoking man has a switch to shut off the immune system of everybody with
all
this.
He has to do is push a button and humanity's blood explodes.
So with this genetic marker that's in the smallpox vaccine, people's immune systems can be shut off with the press of a switch. And so these soldiers getting the anthrax vaccine are being subjected essentially to anthrax since they don't have the immune system anymore. Everybody's immune system is shut off at once. Even though the cigarette smoking man says this started in 2012. But I don't remember everybody's immune system. Like, I've gotten sick several times since 2012. I didn't die.
Yeah, you've still got white blood cells.
Yeah.
Yeah, even after Bonnaroo.
So anyway, that's, I think, and it was very, very unclear, but I believe that's what happened. And then as the episode went on, to speed along the process, they were also shooting aluminum from chemtrails to speed up the process.
And microwave radiation also triggered it.
According to Tad O'Malley.
Right. But there's no reason for us to be invested in what he's saying if it wasn't true.
That's right, because everything Tad O'Malley says is true, even though he has no basis to believe. He has no facts. We don't know where his investigative research comes from. He really is just like tilting it wildly at windmills. He's just throwing every crazy, hacky conspiracy that someone casually interested in conspiracies might be cursorily aware of at the wall and hoping that something sticks. Or rather, Chris Carter did that. Right.
And in the universe, it all stuck.
Yeah. So anyway, basically the world's population is suddenly dying. And Scully's not getting sick, though. But, okay, whatever. So she gets a phone call from a friend. Mm-hmm. Who could this be? Well, we recognize her voice immediately, and we saw her name. We saw her name in the credits, but they really play it out like it's some sort of massive reveal. It's Agent Monica Reyes from off of the X-Files Season 8 and Season 9.
Here to awkwardly face hug Scully.
So she like kissed her on the cheek or something. I don't know.
It was like they didn't want to let their bodies touch, but they leaned in and let their cheeks rub. It was a very strange maneuver.
So basically, Monica Reyes we discussed professional wrestling on the Young Conquer episode of the Kongversation.
Anderson.
To use professional wrestling parlance, Agent Reyes turns heel and basically becomes a villain or something. I don't really know what the intent was supposed to be.
Yeah, she turned into Marita Covarrubias.
Okay. Because, hey, everybody hates Agent Reyes, so we might as well assassinate her character. Whatever.
It also reminded me of the second X-Files movie in that there was so much wrong with that they treated the reveal of Skinner as a big moment for the audience. You're like, this is Mitch Pileggi. Come on.
No, but because it's an X-Files movie. We expect to see X-Files characters in it. Don't be withholding, Chris Carter.
This was treated the same way, and it's just as underwhelming. Oh, Reyes? Whale song? Okay.
I was honestly happy to see her because I was like, oh, it's a step up from Agent Einstein.
Right. It was an opportunity to not have Agent Einstein in the scene.
And it was nice. So I was like, oh, you don't know how good you've got it until it's gone.
Right. This was the Bad Fur Day parable.
So yeah, it turns out after the events of The Truth, the season 9 finale, and erstwhile series finale, The X-Files, now just a season finale. Mm-hmm. The cigarette smoking man got blown up by Tomahawk missiles.
Yeah,
but the super soldiers blew him up, or maybe they weren't. Yeah, they were trying to blow up Mulder. I don't know if they were trying to blow up the cigarette smoking.
No. That was the government. That wasn't the super soldiers, because the super soldiers weren't able to. They sunk into the ground like. Ironically, John Doggett in the Terminator, when they got near Roswell, because there's something about the magnetic rocks in that part of New Mexico that also crashed the alien spaceship, and it kills the super soldiers. So there's no way that was them in the helicopter.
Okay, but I forget who the government was trying to blow up, if it was Mulder or the cigarette smoking man.
Yeah,
but,
I don't know. The fact is, he was blown up and the flesh melted from his skin in full shot. And I went back and I looked at the season 9 finale after I got done with this, just to go to that scene and verify. Oh yeah, we saw his skeleton.
Yeah, and they specifically did that. They said at the time they did that to prove to the audience once and for all that the cigarette smoking man is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
It doesn't matter. Whatever.
Yeah. So it turns out he somehow survived, and he's in a hospital, badly burned, and he's getting skin grafts, and he'll survive. Don't worry, he'll survive. But he calls for Monica Reyes because apparently Mulder and Scully are in hiding at this point, and Doggett. I don't know what Doggett's up to.
Yeah, why wasn't that John Doggett?
It's because I don't think Monica Reyes ever met the cigarette smoking man. Anyway.
No. Yeah, John Doggett actually had some time working as partners with Scully, so he probably would be made aware of this.
Yeah. Anyway, so cigarette smoking man calls for Monica Reyes and says, "I want you to be my wet nurse."
Mm-hmm. Feed me cigarettes.
Yeah, and Monica Reyes like, "Why should I help you, you cigarette smoking bastard?" And I don't really know why she helped him, but she basically.
I think because he was basically blackmailing her with making everyone's blood explode.
Okay, so he promised, your blood's not going to explode if you come work for me. And so she was like, well, shit, I don't want my blood to explode. Right. And then Scully was like, you're a coward.
You're such a coward, Monica. Why didn't you just let everyone's blood explode?
Yeah. I like the high horse that Mulder gets up on. Like, cigarette smoking man basically offers the same deal to Mulder, since canonically Mulder is his son.
Yep. By the way.
And I like that Ray has mentioned that cigarette smoking man loves Mulder. I guess that's nice. I guess a little bit of character continuity there, but so cigarette smoking man offers him the deal, and Mulder refuses to take it because he's got pride. Damn it! And I'm like, Mulder, take the fucking cure, because then you could fight him. You can fight
the future.
You're just essentially laying over and letting the world burn. Like, what are you doing? You're a coward, Mulder. You would rather die than fight anymore.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, Mulder always fought. He always had that drive, and he stopped at nothing. And this is just not Agent Mulder, this character that we're watching in Chris Carter's scripts.
Like, Mulder's stubborn, and I can see him like wrestling with the idea. But like when Agent Miller showed up, because Agent Miller went to the X-Files office, and turns out Mulder had like phone tracking.biz on his computer.
Yeah. Helpfully bookmarked on his desktop.
And so Scully didn't think to do this, but yeah, he could track Mulder's phone.
Well, Scully's a scientist. He's an investigator.
Right. So yeah.
Oh, by the way, Skinner was like really dismissive of Agent Einstein's opinion. He said, "Agent Einstein, be quiet. Scully's a scientist." It's like, she's a medical doctor too. She can weigh in on the idea of DNA.
Yeah. So anyway, Agent Miller finds Mulder. He's driving to South Carolina, so Miller just up and drives to South Carolina, so I live in northern to central Virginia, which is, it's about a 90-minute drive to D.C., assuming traffic's good, and traffic's never good. So driving from D.C. to South Carolina, that would be at least a 6-hour drive, I would wager. Because you have to drive through North Carolina. It's a long drive, is what I'm saying. I don't know where Spartanville is.
In the middle of plague rush hour.
Yes, exactly. It's like Walking Dead, like where, all the cars are jammed up on the freeway, But whatever, the world's coming to an end, but Agent Miller's going to go for a road trip.
Yay!
He's got his apocalypse mix,
Yeah. Phonelocator.biz.
Thanks, phonelocator.biz. And he arrives, and I'm thinking, well, Miller is going to basically turn heel at this point and align with the cigarette smoking man to give Mulder the cure, and that's going to create a big falling out. Like,
the reason you thought that, Hyle, is because that would have been interesting.
Because I thought Miller would be like a new Krychek, somebody we met, and somebody
Right.
who has like seems to get along well with Mulder, and it turns out, maybe Miller was already in cahoots with the cigarette smoking man. That would have been interesting.
Yeah.
But
no, he even kind of has a Krychek look about him.
Because he's a pretty boy. He's a pretty boy.
He looks like a young Nicholas Lee.
Yeah. And, since you can't have Krychek, since Krychek was shot in the head by Skinner, have a new Krychek and Miller. That would have been a great twist. Everybody's thinking, they're grooming this guy to be a replacement for Duchovny when Duchovny doesn't want to do a 6-episode event series anymore.
Right.
But no, turns out he's a bad guy. But no, they didn't do that because that'd be interesting.
That also would have explained why he's into the paranormal stuff, because that's his way of cozying up to Mulder.
Exactly. That would have been cool. But no, we didn't get that. Miller just awkwardly puts Mulder into a car, and cigarette smoking man kind of shakes his fist at them. It's like, you'll be sorry.
Yeah.
And then that's the end of the interaction with the cigarette smoking man.
The timetable started, Mr. Mulder. Like, that's it.
And so they just drive off, and they get back to DC. Like, they leave at night, and it's still night when they arrive. And the world's ending even more at that point.
Man, they got all the way back to that bridge. What river is that in D.C. that they were on top of?
The Potomac.
The Potomac, yeah. They got from South Carolina to the Potomac in plague traffic.
And by the way, why is everybody in their cars leaving? If everybody, like, where are they going to go? Are they trying to escape from the plague? If all the hospitals are full, like, where are they going? Like, I don't understand, like, what
these are the questions that Fear the Walking Dead should have answered.
Well, like, I feel like Chris Carter was really struck by the imagery from the Walking Dead pilot, and he wanted to replicate it in his end of the world scenario, but he just copied it, basically.
Right. That seems to be his modus operandi lately.
So anyway,
which is a clever Latin phrase that I'm surprised wasn't in this run.
Yeah. So Scully,
because Chris Carter loves his Latin.
So Scully at her Catholic hospital that she still works at part-time, I guess. She synthesized a cure using her alien DNA. And at this point, Miller is sick. Einstein is sick. Mulder is near death. I don't know why Mulder...
The audience is sick.
I don't know why Mulder is so advanced in his in his virus, whatever Mulder has. Mulder
because plot contrivance.
Yeah, Mulder's on death's door already, even though he was already in a fight, and he drove all the way to South Carolina. I don't know, but so
I will say that fight sequence, while it wasn't, again, in the X-Files verbal language, it was at least competently done.
It was competently shot. Yeah, Two things stuck out for me in this episode because they were
visual language. Sorry,
they were competent. The fight scene was competent, and at the very least, they tried to explain why the cigarette smoking man was still alive, which I appreciated. It made no sense considering how we saw him blow up in the in the finale, but they made an attempt because they could have just gotten cute and a half with it, and Mulder would have said, "They told me you were dead, you cigarette smoking son of a bitch," and cigarette smoking man would have said, "I told you long ago to trust no one, Agent Mulder.
Don't believe everything you read, Agent Mulder." Yeah.
Ha ha ha. Aren't we clever? As Chris Carter furiously rubs his nipples and they start lactating. So,
is he a gender bender? from the season?
No, I'm just picturing like Chris Carter massaging his nipples so much to the point where they actually start lactating.
I see.
So
that's blood.
Agent Scully has got the cure based off her, because it turns out that the reason she's not sick is she has alien DNA. They didn't put alien DNA in people. Alien DNA is the cure, damn it. And
right, yeah, is alien DNA bad? Is it good? Scully went from I can't believe they put alien DNA into me into I have to put alien DNA into everybody.
So Agent Scully has the alien DNA vaccine. And so she's running down the street, traffic's jammed. People are rioting. And so she tells the rioters, "Stop rioting. Help is on the way."
You get alien DNA. You get alien DNA.
I was like, okay, Agent Scully, you have one vial of this shit. Like,
Right.
like maybe you should. How long does it take to synthesize more? I remember during the Ebola outbreak, they were saying like how long it would take to synthesize more of this. It wasn't vaccine, but whatever they had that like combated it. It doesn't work the way you're thinking, Chris Carter. Anyway, so
yeah. But Hyle, you know how like in an airplane when the oxygen goes out, you put your face mask on first so that you can help others. That's why she gave Agent Einstein the vaccine.
Yes, but then the second person she tried to give vaccine to was Mulder because Mulder's her baby daddy.
Yeah.
So she can't. I don't even know how she got through traffic. It's kind of a blur. Like
she drove on the sidewalk and then
that wouldn't work because people would be stuck on the sidewalk as well. Like. If driving on a sidewalk worked, everybody would be doing it.
Well, you know the old saying, Hyle, sometimes you have to crack a few skulls to save Agent Mulder.
So anyway, they eventually get to the bridge over the Potomac. I don't know how. Agent Miller's there conveniently with Mulder. And so Scully has his IV she tries to give Mulder. But Mulder's too far gone. And she literally says, we need to put some stem cells into
Yep.
He needs some stem cells.
Yeah, we need stem cells. Oh, by the way, it's funny. She just takes a look at him, and without even attempting to put the IV in, to counteract this virus that she's never even really seen before. So how the hell would she know that he's too far gone? She just turns and starts talking to Miller about, oh, we're too late, while Mulder is like bleeding from the eyes right next to her. Put the fucking IV in his arm.
Yeah. So Scully's like, he needs some stem cells. I need to Google up some stem cells.
Right.
And by the way, Tad O'Malley is still giving his running commentary on the events, and he's sick and near death too. But Scully texted him and said, "Help is on the way." So Tad O'Malley gives out that message of hope to his crazy right-wing followers right before the cord is cut on the internet or something. I don't really know.
The giant government hamsters that run the internet wheels got the plague.
Well, yeah, because they're saying infrastructure is collapsing because everybody's getting sick. Well, like power is starting to flicker. Like, well, that's not the way power works. Like, again, it's not a hamster on a wheel, and the hamster is feeling fluish, so it's going to start flickering.
Right.
It doesn't go down like that. And again, that's something cribbed from recent apocalyptic TV and movies. Like, it's imagery that Chris Carter found striking, so he's going to borrow it despite the context not making any sense.
Yeah.
And the fact that the world is ending in one night. It's
also the way that his show was going down. I mean, we're talking about an online streamed show.
Yeah.
And yet it sort of like flickered in and out in what looked like the sort of garbage that you get over the new HD conversion signals that go over the air.
Yeah.
The broadcast television is digital now. It looks like that kind of noise, but what it should have been is like a buffering symbol if the internet's going down. Right. Like the video should have downsampled to 240p and then just stopped playing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which actually might have been kind of cool considering a lot of people are going to be watching this streaming online.
Right. And I think that would have been more chilling imagery. I know I get goosebumps and a chill down my spine whenever my internet, goes down because I feel like the world's ended,
Right. Your own personal world.
Yeah. So
your personal DKU has gone off the grid.
I can't log on the DK Vine and see who Scraps wants what banjo characters he wants to see peg each other in banjo discussion.
Yeah. And that's a life half lived.
So anyway, Mulder needs stem cells, but he needs them from a relative. Well, all of Mulder's family is dead. Oh, well, except for their son, William. Scully's like, well,
thanks a lot, Krychek.
Scully, well, actually, the cigarettes,
he shot Mulder's dad.
If the cigarette smoking man is his father, technically, then...
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Like they could have made that work better. Like, if maybe Miller was still with Cigarette Smoking Man, and Scully's like, well, there is one place we can get Mulder his stem cells from his father, and then Miller turns to the Cigarette Smoking Man. It's like, oh, are they gonna what's gonna happen? But no, that would have been
interesting.
That would have been interesting, and it would have been something they could have written their way out of. So,
because then he would have literally he would have been the cure, not just holding the cure.
Oh, man. You want some symbolism there, Chris Carter. There's something you could have there. Yeah. Anyway. So Scully's like, well, we had a son together. So I'll have to get William's stem cells. The only problem... Wait. So is he going to carve up William? Like, what? How?
Yeah. What?
Because
I mean, you can get stem cells from like the end of your hair follicle.
Yeah,
like, they're all over your body.
Okay. But anyway, so Scully's like, so we need to get to William. The only problem is I have no idea where he is in the country because we gave him up for adoption 12 years.
Scully, you don't have to say everything that comes to mind. If it's a completely non-viable solution, just keep it to yourself.
We gave him up to for adoption 14 years ago, and I have no idea where he is. Oh well, and then at that moment, a triangle spaceship appears in the sky over Scully's head, shines a light down on her. And at this point, I'm fully expecting like a window to roll down on the spaceship. Like William,
hi, Mom.
A 14-year-old William, like driving the spaceship saying, "Hey, Mom, heard you need my help."
Hang on, I never really learned parallel parking.
I fully expected it because at this point, I've abandoned all hope. But no, they just zoom in on Scully's eye because Chris Carter saw
that was another weird thing that
Chris Carter saw it on Lost and he really liked it. They zoom in on Scully's eye and then you get the executive. Like, did they even have a to be continued or was it just executive producer?
It was cut to black. Executive producer Chris Carter and Glenn Morgan.
Yeah, so that's Chris Carter.
Your hands have blood on them, Glenn Morgan.
Yeah, you really needed some Wong in this to really make it work.
Yeah. As do we all.
So, no, that's Wang, Chad.
Sorry.
So, that's how it ended. And at this point, there's probably
do you want there to be another season?
Honestly, this was so perversely entertaining for all the wrong reasons. Look,
yeah?
the scab's already ripped off, Chad. At this point, you might as well just let it bleed out.
Yeah, I don't like hate watching things, and I do love the X-Files, and I don't want the X-Files to become The Simpsons, and it kind of already has.
But this is what this proved to me. Chris Carter never has any intention of actually resolving his storyline.
Right. It'll just be a whole bunch of nonsense, and then it'll be a whole bunch more nonsense.
Right. He has no self-discipline, and he has this crazy notion that the X-Files is this thing that can go on forever. And it's not.
Certainly not when you center entire story arcs around dismantling the premise of the show.
Right. It's a finite storyline. It's always been a finite storyline. That's something Vince Gilligan learned from his time on the X-Files and why Breaking Bad was 5 seasons. And then, you can do a spin-off. You can do whatever in that universe. You can still play in that universe because there's limitless potential in any fictional universe. But if you have a story to tell the story, shit or get off the pot. And I was really hoping this 6-episode run was going to be Chris Carter finally resolving his goddamn story, finally putting it to bed, giving us closure, and then if you want to do more, there's all these Monsters of the Weeks you can do. There's more stories you can tell about the lives of Mulder and Scully post-conspiracy, but no, Chris Carter is a fucking talentless hack who has no self-awareness. And unfortunately, it's going to be driven into the ground until the ratings are not there to justify any more episodes. And so, at this point, there's nothing we can do, Chad.
Yeah,
we can't fight the future.
Yeah. There's no hope for us unless they keep Chris Carter away from his own show, which will never happen.
They need to George Lucas him, essentially.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with him even like coming up with the basic storyline, so long as they bring in new writers to interpret it. Chris Carter, the hubris he had, the gall to think that he could write half the episodes in his 6-episode run. No.
That's not what that's a misunderstanding of what made the X-Files great. And we've that's been a refrain on this in our last mini, is that he just doesn't understand the components that made up the X-Files in its heyday.
Yeah.
He thinks it was him, I guess.
Yeah, and well, I mean, your show got canceled for a reason, Chris Carter, and unfortunately, you didn't have the this was your chance of redemption. This was the X-Files chance of redemption. I was excited. I said,
well, no, it's had a chance at redemption, and he squandered it. That was called The X-Files I Want to Believe.
Okay, well, this was his.
Most people don't get a second chance. He's had like 8 of them.
Best 2 out of 3.
He had a comic series to redeem the show.
At least that's
there was
not
already a season 10.
At least that's non-canon now.
Yeah.
So the lone gunman never met the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm sorry to say, Chad.
Damn it! I really loved catching up with Luke Wilson and the goalie from the Big Green.
I said back on the regular Kongversation when they announced this, at the very least this could be good and it could redeem what we had before. But assuming it went bad, at least we would have new memes, new in-jokes to make. We would have 6 new episodes to constantly mock. And to be fair, one of those episodes was superb.
Yep.
One of them was pretty okay, good.
2 of them were okay.
One of them was mediocrely okay. One of them was pretty good. And 3 were the drizzling shits, with one being a new Babylon. You want to talk about Babylon? This was hanging garden of the hanging commodes of Babylon, because this was the complete epic masterwork of pure hackery that was right. I mean, just a masterpiece. I don't think Chris Carter can ever top himself.
No, it was in your face terrible. It was Poochie the rockin' dog of shit.
The only way he could top himself is to have a comedy episode about rape again in 2017 or whatever. But I don't know.
Should we call this a Kongversation mini?
Actually, I was thinking about splitting it up into 2 parts.
Okay. Well, do you want to end it on a stinger or something, or on a
sure.
Good note? Do you have anything?
So ultimately, I don't know. Maybe you need alien DNA to enjoy what we just saw, but because Agent Scully only synthesized that 1 vial, we're just left with the complete TV train wreck that we bared witness to. Any final thoughts on the X-Files season 10, Chad?
It was mediocre to brilliant when Chris Carter wasn't involved.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I figured it would be. I don't really care if it comes back. I'm done. I'm really done. As I said, I don't want to hate watch things. I don't want to see these characters dragged through a nonsense plot. That's not enjoyable even on a jokey level, because there are other bad things that I can snigger at. I don't want the X-Files to be that. Ugh. I already have to preface the notion that I'm an X-Files fan when I describe myself that way with, of course it got kind of bad later on. I really don't want there to be a point where the majority of the X-Files is bad. Just please stop.
Yeah,
Darren Morgan notwithstanding, just stop.
The thing is, do you really want the X-Files to end the way it ended?
I don't care. It already ended terribly. And then it already had a terrible movie where they waved at the camera in the last shot. It had a new low, but it's been ending on low marks since it ended the first time. So what does it matter?
I don't know. I think the ideal ending to the series now would be them reuniting with William, and then all heading down to the honky tonk badonkadonk together.
With the lone gunman and
line
Skinner.
dancing arm to arm, tripping on placebos. I think that is now the ideal ending to the X-Files. Chris Carter, call me. We want an Emmy too.
This has been a File 2 production.
I made this.